Hey there, guys. Video Psych here. It really has been too long since I last made a video. It's just been one thing after another coming up lately. And, I have other projects to do sometimes before making videos. But here we go. Just one moment. But I always just thought it was funny how this whole time that I've made, Love Doll videos and, video psychology videos, that's almost the entire time I would sometimes even see hater male groups, misogynists sometimes that would come to my channel and, they would ramble on their their fuck woman preaches, I guess I might call them, on my channel here. And I even remember a while ago, just a couple of instances here, like a couple of times. There's this one time when this one guy was preaching about, their male right to have a sex doll and replace women. And then I remember this one time I was talking with a guy that seemed to really insist that we can replace women. And why. It was some talk about, about a project about, how they made an experiment and successfully managed to birth a human through an artificial, womb and stomach area. But, I did tell him the fact that, in order for that still to be successful, though, they need an egg from a woman and the fertilizer from a male, though, is the thing. And we can't really make those things. And there's a possibility that we'll never be able to make those things naturally. But, the guy was still kind of insisting and blabbing on how he thought that we were just going to replace women and blah, blah, blah. And so, I just kind of let it go. But yeah, then there was like the time, of course, with the incels, But, looking back, it just kind of makes me laugh, really, because this whole entire time, it wasn't even that kind of channel, really. I was always actually trying to help just everybody out, not just, these love doll communities and, these insecure men who are too afraid to get into a relationship for one reason or another. It's, for instance, I used to live in a town called West Burlington. And right now, that town is basically like a ghetto. And especially after I had left, I had heard about all the sexual diseases that these people were getting into because they are having way too much. They are having way too much unprotected sex, or just sex in general. And it was getting so bad that stores and store owners were giving out condoms for free because the diseases were getting so bad and they were always getting sick from them, not going to work because of it, or they were, of course, in extreme cases, dying from it. And, that's what I teach about is, sexual health, being healthy, not, being a hater and hating on women. And, I've even also talked to a few women on this channel too. And they've talked about, I'd say, pretty much the same issues that the men on here have been talking about. And I remember one woman in particular, she was talking about, how she has been having trouble, finding a guy that is responsible enough to, have a relationship with her and care for her children. And, I, of course, did say to her, yes, I mean, there are a lot of men out there that do not want to take on that kind of responsibility. They just kind of, want to use you as a cum dump and leave. They'll act nice to you up until that point sometimes too. I mean, I've also seen the exact same thing from a lot of women that I've known growing up. They will act nice to you until that moment when you have, I'd say, the most fun with them, and then the next day it's like you don't even exist because they just used you. And I have experienced that personally, and that's part of the reason why I also sometimes talk about, the casual sex markets and what I experienced from it in some areas throughout my years. That's casual sex dream that a lot of guys tend to have does not exist. It and even if it does exist, it just doesn't exist in the same way that you see in the movies. It just is not like that. And of course, with people that seem to think that they know everything about getting into relationships, even though they've never ever been in a relationship in their entire life, probably, which kind of baffles me sometimes. And I can almost always, I say pretty much always, tell the guys that act like they have been played so much, and it's very easy to tell that they're probably a virgin. But it's just so many people, so many sex issues, and then I see all this hate on the internet and all these people saying these things, and I understand that sometimes these people are just trying to have fun, and they see it as a game, and maybe sometimes in the right moments it can be, but sometimes people can get a bit too comfortable and say something that they shouldn't have to somebody that they shouldn't have, or that maybe said it at an inappropriate moment because, again, they got too comfortable and they just see everything as a game. I mean, the thing is, having a good sense of humor is a good thing. I am, for one, the kind of person that has a very big sense of humor, but it is also good to know when not everybody else in your room is not in the mood for your humor. And you need to kind of take note of that, and you need to kind of take a step back and just shut up. But of course, like I was saying, I'm not just teaching these things to men on here with love dolls, etc. That's even when I was making a ton of love doll videos. That's not for what it was about. It was always just about helping people with not only mental health but physical health as well. And don't just believe everything that you hear on the internet. And that's part of the reason why I started making videos in the first place, like I've said before, because I just grew really tired of seeing all the bullshit and people just falling for it. I mean, and all the times I've seen people, they will seriously get up to 1 million views, if not even millions of views, on some of the stupidest bullshit that I've ever seen. I've even once saw a long time ago, some guy actually got over 1 million views on him opening and closing a door, and the video even said on the title, opening and closing a door. It is like, what, a 5-second video of him opening and closing a door, and it got over 1 million views. It was a little bit funny, I will admit, but you know just shit like that makes you think sometimes. And with that being said, I will just end the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.